Good evening, I'm Bo Williams, and welcome to the 7. Let's get a look at the big 7 stories right now. And topping the list for us tonight, a man killed, another man hurt, apparently trying to protect the other from an attack. Maryville police saying tonight they have a suspect under arrest. Brian Noble is being held on bonds of $1.25 million, facing charges of homicide and attempted homicide. Maryville police tell us they used a dog to track down Noble after the stabbing early this morning. Officers first getting the call around 3:30 from a home on Southview Drive. There, investigators say they found 74-year-old John Salvati Jr. suffering from life-threatening injuries. Now, Salvati later died at Blunt Memorial Hospital. Another man survived despite getting stabbed several times. Police say he was stabbed trying to stop Noble. Of course, we'll keep following this as Noble is scheduled for his next court date coming up on Tuesday. Well, our next Big 7 story, answers in a cold case going back almost 40 years. Investigators now putting this face and a name, James Keith Knuckles, with a set of human remains found in September of 1985. Two kids riding their bikes made that discovery all those years ago along Buttermilk Road, not far from I-40. The Loudoun County Sheriff's Office and the TBI knew he had been shot to death, ruling it a homicide, but they couldn't make the ID, saying no missing persons reports matched the description. Well, now with Knuckles' identity paired up with that evidence, the search for his murderer can pick up once again.
Now that we have that information, you know, we're spending a lot of time deep diving into Mr. Knuckles' life. What was going on at the time? Who was he surrounding himself with? Why was he in Loudoun County? What was going on? And so as we go through that process, and we put this information out to the public as well in hopes that someone who maybe remembers him from that time or saw him can also help us get leads and tips.
Knuckles was likely between the ages of 40 and 57 at the time of his death. Anyone who may have any information on this case is asked to please contact the TBI at 1-800-TBI-FIND. Knuckles' identification is the latest to come out of the TBI's Unidentified Human Remains DNA Initiative, partnering with a private lab in Texas to go beyond DNA testing, also incorporating genealogical information, leading investigators to living family members. In Knuckles' case, the TBI says agents made contact last month with someone determined to be a possible relative, matching their family DNA patterns to Knuckles. His case, by the way, is one of 14 the TBI has been re-examining through these new techniques, thanks to a state grant offered up last year. Next on our list for you, a big decision and a scare for a family and their child, which could have been deadly. It comes from the grand jury in Morgan County. The decision not to indict anyone after an 8-year-old boy shot himself earlier this month. And we previously reported that the accidental shooting happened back on September 8th in the Mossy Grove community. At the time, the district attorney said that a child had been injured at a home on Ray Cross Road. We're told the boy was airlifted to the hospital. The DA said the child was later released with a fractured shoulder, but otherwise he was doing okay. According to statements made by the boy's parents, it's believed that his father had a loaded handgun in a holster on top of a refrigerator. The boy's mother said the child used a chair to climb up on the countertops, allowing him to reach it. Our next Big 7 story, a delay in the investigation into a Kentucky child's death. We're talking about the 17-month-old named Elena, as her mother now faces charges. Middlesboro Police Department saying due to the complexity of the case, the DNA analysis will take longer than expected. Now, we've been telling you the investigation started when little Elena was taken from Middlesboro, Kentucky to East Tennessee Children's Hospital here in Knoxville back in July. Commonwealth attorney Lisa Fugate claimed the child suffered signs of abuse. Well, she died from her injuries 2 days later, and her mother, Erica Lawson, was arrested that same day. Prosecutors said 2 weeks ago they're planning to seek the death penalty in this case. Also, we've shown you the impact this case has had on the community. Today, Middlesboro Lieutenant Barry Cowan saying the department understands the public's frustration, but is optimistic that, quote, everyone involved in baby Elena's death will face justice, end quote. A TWRA agent stands accused of buying upwards of $60,000 worth of gas with a state credit card. Now, we told you back in June about Morgan County wildlife officer under scrutiny. Now we're learning from court paperwork that deputies searching his home found more than 24 gas cans. We also learned today that James Travis Buchanan has been indicted by a grand jury on charges of theft and official misconduct in a case that covers the span of more than a decade. Now, more answers coming to us from a search warrant application showing a TBI investigator was brought in after TWRA's auditor got word of possible misuse of a gas card connected with the state-owned pickup truck assigned to Buchanan. Back in the spring, investigators used a GPS tracker, followed Buchanan, and claim they watched him on several occasions filling up gas cans, and returning them to his home. According to that affidavit, investigators think they have reason to believe the amount of gas bought over the years is more than he would have used for his department truck. Next in our big list, a company still working to build affordable homes. Despite the neighborhood pushback, which scuttled their project out in West Knox County, we've been following the protests from the neighbors in the TWRA area concerned about extra traffic and other impacts from a set of affordable townhomes that were planned by the Dominion Group. Well, that was until just over a week ago when Dominion withdrew its request for the green light to move forward. Dominion saying at the time it had other potential locations in mind. Now, today we had the chance to hear from Dominion about those plans still in the pipeline, plans that include adding more than 200 apartments to other areas of Knox County in the next couple of years. The company telling us it plans to break ground on 280 units at two different sites, one off Merchants, the other across from Holston Hills Park. While these buildings are classified as affordable housing, they fall under rules that require certain income levels for potential renters.
It's very confusing between Section 42, Section 8. But this is a tax credit that allows us to go out and raise equity to build a project is one of our sources of, to build a project. A Section 8 is more of a voucher program for rent. So these are Section 42, and they'll be under the tax credit program. As everyone knows, there's a massive need for affordable housing here locally and across the nation. Rental rates are soaring, and people are in need of housing, especially affordable housing.
Now, we are told the average rent for the apartments being built along Merchants Drive and Holston Hills Road will be between $960 to $1,300. These two projects will break ground in November and be completed within the next 2 years. Dominion Group recently opened a 72-unit property in West Knoxville near Pellissippi Parkway, also classified as affordable housing. And we wrap up our Big 7 list for you tonight with a look into the future for Exit 407. Today, we got our hands on some of these concept designs for Sports Illustrated resorts, one of which could be coming to, well, the Sevier County site. Travel and Leisure Company launching this network of resorts and revealing that locations would be situated around college towns with big sports followings, plus beach clubs and theme parks and other resort communities. Now, the first college town resort in the network is slated for Tuscaloosa, Alabama, aiming right now to open in late 2025. Of course, we've told you about talks to bring a Sports Illustrated resort to the new Exit 407 Gateway to Adventure, organized by the economic development arm of the Eastern Band of Cherokees. The business entity behind that effort has committed $320 million to the Sports Illustrated resort concept. And of course, we'll keep you up to date on where things stand as this moves forward. But that's just some of the looks of what it could look like when it's all said and done.